Chris adjusted his backpack, glancing at Tiffany, who was struggling to keep up. The couple had moved to this small town seeking peace after the birth of their son, and now they were hoping to reconnect without the noise of daily life. "Hey, you all right?" Chris asked, concern creasing his brow as he studied her pale face. Tiffany nodded, though her eyes betrayed her. "Just a little tired. I think the baby's getting heavy." "You can't blame him for that," Chris said with a soft chuckle. "How about we take a break? Let's sit by that stream." Tiffany smiled faintly, the sound of rushing water drawing her in. They settled on a grassy bank, the cool evening air wrapping around them like a blanket. As Chris rummaged through the backpack for water, Tiffany leaned over the stream, splashing her face. "Ah, that feels nice," she sighed, but suddenly her face twisted in discomfort. "Ooh-ho," Chris said playfully. "I hope you're not about to be sick on me." A sudden wave of nausea hit Tiffany, and she turned away from the water. "I think I might—" Before she could finish, she doubled over, retching violently. Chris rushed to her side, holding her hair back as she emptied her stomach into the grass. "Just breathe. Tiff, it'll be okay," he murmured, his voice steady despite the worry gnawing at him. Once the wave passed, she wiped her mouth, feeling the chill of the evening air. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to ruin our trip." "Don't be silly." "You feel better now?" he asked, his thumb brushing the back of her hand. "Yeah, a bit, I think the baby is trying to make an early entrance," she joked weakly, trying to lighten the mood. "Let's hope he waits a little longer," Chris said, glancing at the darkening woods. "How about we head back? I think I remember the trail." Tiffany rose slowly, taking a moment to steady herself. "Yeah, let's do that." They started back, but as they walked, the trees seemed to close in around them. Chris squinted, trying to find the familiar path, but the shadows grew longer, stretching like fingers into the twilight. "Chris?" Tiffany said, her voice quavering slightly. "Are we lost?" "Just give me a minute," he replied, feeling the rising panic in his chest. The forest, once inviting, now felt oppressive. "Maybe we should turn around," she suggested, glancing nervously at the darkening woods. "All right, let's retrace our steps," Chris said, and they turned back the way they came. But the deeper they went, the more disoriented they became. "Chris!" Tiffany gasped as she stumbled, catching herself against a tree. "Easy there," he said, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "Just breathe." Suddenly, the soft glow of a lantern flickered in the distance. An old woman, her hair white like moonlight, appeared from between the trees. "Lost, are you?" she croaked, her voice like gravel. Chris stepped protectively in front of Tiffany. "We're fine. We just need to find our way back." The woman's eyes glinted with an unsettling knowledge. "The woods can be tricky, especially on a night like this." "Follow me, I know the way." Tiffany hesitated, but Chris nodded, and they followed the woman, who moved with surprising agility. As they reached the edge of the woods, the woman turned, her gaze piercing. "Be wary of the full moon, dearie. It brings out the beast in all of us." "Thanks for the help," Chris said stiffly, leading Tiffany away. Once back in the safety of their small home, Chris tried to shake off the unease. "Just a crazy old woman," he muttered, but Tiffany frowned, the memory of the woman's words echoing ominously in her mind. "I feel strange," she admitted, clutching her stomach, like something's different. "It's just the baby," Chris assured her, though doubt crept in. As the month passed, Tiffany watched Chris with wary eyes. He was off at work, leaving her alone with the mounting dread that something was wrong. She felt the weight of the moon's pull, its light beckoning her outside at night. "Just a few more weeks," Chris said one evening, rubbing her back as they sat on the couch. "You're doing so well." "Right, just a few more weeks," she echoed, but it felt like a lie. One night, unable to resist, she slipped outside, the full moon casting an eerie glow over the yard. She stared up at it, feeling an inexplicable longing. Then it hit her. Sharp, burning pain radiated through her body. She collapsed, gasping, the world blurring around her. "Chris!" she screamed, but it came out as a low growl. The transformation seized her, bones cracking, muscles shifting, with a final scream that echoed through the night. She turned, fur sprouting, claws extending. "No!" she howled, a primal terror and exhilaration coursing through her. She tore through the woods, the thrill of the hunt igniting a fire within her. All thoughts of Chris faded as she succumbed to the raw, wild instinct. Back at the house, Chris awoke to the sound of shattering glass. Heart racing, he stumbled out of bed. "Tiffany," he called, but only silence answered. He grabbed a flashlight, fear creeping in as he stepped outside. The moon illuminated the path, but it was too quiet. Then he heard it, a low growl from the shadows. "Tiffany," he called again, voice trembling. The growl deepened, and out of the darkness she emerged. "Chris!" she cried, but it was distorted, a mix of human and beast. "Get back!" he shouted, the flashlight trembling in his grip. With a snarl, she lunged at him, and instinct took over. He barely had time to react as she knocked him down, teeth sinking into his shoulder. "No!" he screamed, pain shooting through him. The warmth of his blood spilled onto the ground as she tore into him, the world spinning into darkness. As the sun rose, the town awoke to a scene of horror. The police swarmed the small house, officers whispering in hushed tones, unable to comprehend the gruesome sight before them. "Looks like a wild animal attack," one officer said, examining the mangled body. "Yeah, but what kind of animal would do this?" another replied, glancing around uneasily as if expecting the beast to emerge from the shadows. Just then the phone rang, cutting through the tension. "Hello?" the officer answered, his brow furrowing. "Help me!" a shaky voice crackled through the line. "I found a baby boy on my doorstep." "Ma'am, stay calm. Where are you?" "On Maple Street, just outside of town." "Please, you have to hurry." As the officer hung up, a haunting wolf song echoed in the distance, sending a chill down the spine of everyone present. In the depths of the forest, Tiffany, now fully transformed, howled at the moon, a primal cry that spoke of loss, anger, and an insatiable hunger for freedom. She ran, leaving behind the remnants of the life she once knew, a life now twisted by the curse she never saw coming. The woods welcomed her, and the night embraced her, a creature of the dark, forever lost among the trees.